Hi there, my name is Mr. Crawford, and I am going to read you a book today from the genre of science and fiction fantasy. I love this book, and the reason I love this book is because it blends two different themes of two things that I love the most. The first one is technology and nature. Have a look at the title page. Can you see the technology on the title page? Yes, great. You see a robot right here, right? And can you see the nature? Well, obviously, we have the mountains and we have the trees and we have the water and we have the sun in the background. So I love this book because it takes two seemingly different worlds and it combines them together. So we're going to look at three different strategies today. We're going to look at questioning, visualizing, and making predictions. Now, these three different reading strategies help us become better readers. And the more we practice these three strategies, the better we get at reading. And that way we can read a lot faster and we can comprehend things a lot faster when we read. So we're going to practice those three strategies today. Let's start with the first one. The first strategy we're going to look at is called making predictions. And a prediction is kind of like a guess. All right, so we are going to read a book called The Wild Robot. Why do you think this book is called The Wild Robot? Good. Yeah, maybe this book is about a robot that is out of their kind of element. They're in the wild. What does that word wild mean? Good, excellent. What does it mean to be wild? Very good. And what do you notice on the cover? Yeah, we don't normally see robots surrounded by nature. How do you think this robot got there? Okay, let's read chapter 1 together and see if any of our guesses or predictions are correct. Chapter 1, The Ocean. Our story begins on the ocean, with wind and rain and thunder and lightning and waves. A hurricane roared and raged through the night, and in the middle of the chaos, a cargo ship was sinking down, down, down to the ocean floor. Okay, now we're going to stop reading and we're going to take a little break and we're going to close our eyes and we're going to imagine that we are one of the crew members on the ship. We could be a captain or we could be a cook or we could be somebody who just works on the ship and helps the crew out. Now I want you to close your eyes and see the ocean. What does the ocean look like during this storm? What clues tell us that the storm might be getting worse? What colors can you see? What does it feel like to be on a ship in a storm? Is it possible to smell a storm? What does a storm smell like? What do you feel on your face and your hands? Excellent. Now let's go back to The Wild Robot and continue reading chapter 1. The ship left hundreds of crates floating on the surface, but as the hurricane thrashed and swirled and knocked them around, the crates also began sinking into the depths. One after another, they were swallowed up by the waves until only 5 crates remained. By morning, the hurricane was gone. There were no clouds, no ships, no land in sight. There was only calm water and clear skies and those 5 crates lazily bobbing along an ocean current. Days passed, and then a smudge of green appeared on the horizon. As the crates drifted closer, the soft green shape slowly sharpened into the hard edges of a wild rocky island. The first crate rode to shore on a tumbling, rumbling wave and then crashed against the rocks with such force that the whole thing burst apart. Now, reader, what I haven't mentioned is that tightly packed inside each crate was a brand new robot. The cargo ship had been transporting hundreds of them before it was swept up in the storm. Now, only 5 robots were left. Actually, only 4 were left, because when the first crate crashed against the rocks, the robot inside shattered to pieces. The same thing happened to the next crate. It shattered against the rocks, and robot parts flew everywhere. Then it happened to the next crate, and the next. Robot limbs and torsos were flung onto ledges. A robot head splashed into a tide pool. A robot foot skittered into the waves. And then came the last crate. It followed the same path as the others, but instead of crashing against the rocks, it sloshed against the remains of the first 4 crates. Soon, more waves were heaving it up out of the water. It soared through the air, spinning and glistening, until it slammed down onto a tall shelf of rock. The crate was cracked and crumpled, but the robot inside was safe. Great. Now, we are going to make some questions about what we just read. Good readers often ask questions before, during, and after they are finished reading. Sometimes these questions can be answered by the book themselves, and sometimes there are much bigger questions that aren't answered until you've read the whole book. An example of a question that might be answered by the book is, what happened to most of the robots on the ship? What happened to most of the robots on the ship? An example of a bigger question might be, I wonder where the ship is coming from. I like to use the words I wonder with a WH word to help me make bigger questions. So let's practice that together. We can say, I wonder where, I wonder why, I wonder how, or I wonder who. Let's try and practice. You make a question with I wonder. That's excellent. Very good. I hope you enjoyed the reading of Chapter 1 from The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. And I highly recommend you go to your library as soon as possible and get this wonderful book out. Now, there are some similar books in the same genre as The Wild Robot. If you go to this app called Novelist in K-8 Plus, you can see some read-alikes on the right corner. And this right side gives you books that are similar. If you click on the book, it'll show you the reason why this book called The Boy, the Boat, and the Beast is similar to The Wild Robot. So according to Lindsay Dunn, in each slow-building allegorical novel, main characters wake up on an island with no memory of how they arrived. Each must quickly acclimate to the surroundings to survive. The titular boy also deals with deals with internal struggles from his past. And this is Lindsay Dunn, one of the users of this website, recommended this book if you liked The Wild Robot. Another book that is similar is a book called Blue Mountain. Let's have a look here. So Blue Mountain is also similar to The Wild Robot in the sense that survival is a serious business with a bit of humor thrown in. Whether you're a shipwrecked robot in The Wild Robot or a bighorn sheep herd in Blue Mountain, both thought-provoking books offer memorable characters, a quiet tone, and dramatic bursts of action. And that's by Rebecca Honeycutt. So I highly recommend that you take a look at this website called Novelist K-8 Plus if you're looking for books that are similar to books you love.